Larry was walking on the busy street angrily. He had just had a big fight with his girlfriend a few hours ago. His fists were clenched in his pockets, his jaw tight, and his thoughts racing faster than the people brushing past him on the crowded sidewalk. His girlfriend, Melissa, had accused him of being too distant, too cold, and too focused on work. But how could she understand? Being a billionaire came with pressure. Everyone wanted something. No one ever truly cared about him. That's why he always kept his circle small and his heart locked up. But tonight Melissa crossed a line. She brought up his late mother, saying maybe she failed to raise him with real emotions. That was the last straw. He stormed out of the mansion, leaving his phone and driver behind. He just needed air, space, silence. The street buzzed with energy, cars honking, vendors shouting, neon lights blinking above shops and clubs. Larry kept walking, not caring where his feet led him. But just as he turned a corner, brushing past a group of teenagers laughing too loudly, he felt something. A light touch. Too light. He stopped. His instincts, honed from years of navigating ruthless boardrooms and business deals, screamed that something was off. He turned around sharply, eyes scanning. That's when he saw her. A girl, maybe in her early 20s, dressed in a faded hoodie and ripped jeans. She was slim, quick on her feet, and trying to blend into the crowd. But Larry caught a glimpse of something shiny in her hand. His wallet. "Hey!" he shouted. The girl froze. Their eyes met for a split second, hers wide with fear, his blazing with fury. Then she ran. Larry didn't think. He just chased. She darted through the crowd like a squirrel in a market, slipping between people, knocking over a basket of fruits, jumping over a sleeping dog. Larry, in his tailored black coat and expensive shoes, didn't care how ridiculous he looked. He was not letting her get away with it. "Stop that girl," he shouted, but nobody moved. Everyone just stared or got out of the way. She turned sharply into an alleyway. He followed. The alley was dark, wet, and smelled like spoiled food. Rats scurried across the pavement as Larry ran faster, determined to catch her. But the girl was fast, too fast. She scaled a fence like she had done it 1,000 times before. Larry hesitated, then, driven by pure anger, climbed after her, tearing his shirt in the process. She landed on the other side, panting, but when she turned around, he was right there. He grabbed her wrist. "You think you can steal from me and just run? Let go of me," she screamed, trying to yank her hand away. Larry pulled his wallet from her hoodie pocket. "You picked the wrong man to mess with." She stared at him, eyes wild but defiant. "You rich people always think you're untouchable. And you street rats think stealing is a game? You think I had a choice?" That stopped him. He looked at her properly for the first time. Her face was tired, like someone who hadn't slept well in months. Her shoes were worn out. Her hoodie had holes in the sleeves. She was trembling, but not just from fear. She was cold, hungry. Larry's grip loosened. "What's your name?" he asked, surprising even himself. She blinked. "Why do you care?" "Because I'm not going to call you thief all night." She hesitated. "Riley." Larry looked at her again, really looked. Something about her, despite the grime, the lies, and the theft, felt real. Unlike Melissa, unlike most people in his life. He took a step back, dropped her wrist, and stuffed his wallet into his coat. "Come with me." Her eyes narrowed. "Why?" "I'm not calling the police yet. But you owe me an explanation. Dinner, somewhere warm." Riley hesitated. She didn't trust easily, but something about this man, he wasn't like the others. "Fine," she muttered, "but I'm not washing dishes or anything." Larry actually chuckled. First time that day. "Deal." And just like that, the billionaire and the pickpocket walked out of the alley together. They went to a small bar. It wasn't fancy, but it was warm and quiet. The kind of place that played soft music and served spicy pepper soup with cold drinks. Larry ordered food for both of them, rice and chicken with fried plantain. Then he ordered drinks. One glass turned into two. Two became four. They laughed, talked, drank some more. Riley had never tasted alcohol before, but she didn't want to seem shy in front of him. The more she drank, the lighter she felt. Larry, too, forgot about his problems. Melissa didn't matter anymore. In that moment, it was just him and this girl with sharp eyes and a sharp tongue who had tried to rob him a few hours ago. Funny how life works. They stumbled out of the bar, giggling like children, and Larry booked a taxi. "Home," he told the driver, and they both dozed off in the back seat, Riley's head resting on Larry's shoulder. The next morning, the sun crept into the room through the window, brushing gently against Larry's face. He turned slowly, stretching his arms, only to pause. There was someone beside him. He sat up quickly. Riley. She was still asleep, her hair a little messy, one of her legs hanging off the side of the bed. Larry blinked, confused for a second, then shook her gently. "Hey, Riley, wake up." She opened her eyes, squinting. What time is it?" "That's not the problem," Larry said. "Do you remember what happened last night?" Riley looked around the room, then at herself, then at him. Her eyes widened. No. What did I do?" Larry scratched his head. "That's what I'm asking. Do you remember anything?" Riley's voice was shaky. I don't. I swear it was my first time drinking alcohol. Everything is just blank." They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of the unknown hanging in the air. Larry sighed deeply. "Well, we're both clothed, so maybe we just passed out. Let's hope so." Riley looked down, ashamed. "I'm sorry." "No," Larry said gently. "It's okay. I'm not mad." He looked at her seriously. "But I want to know something. Why were you pickpocketing?" Riley lowered her eyes. Tears welled up as she spoke. "I lost my mother 5 years ago. It broke me. Things have never been the same since. My father got very sick not long after that. The doctors said he needs surgery, but the money they're asking for is too much. I don't have any family. I don't have anyone. I tried begging. I tried doing small jobs. Nothing worked. So, I started stealing." Larry listened in silence. His heart softened. This girl, she wasn't bad. She was desperate. "How much do you need?" he asked quietly. Riley sniffed and looked at him. 10 million naira. Larry leaned back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. 10 million, he said thoughtfully. "Riley, how many people do you think you can steal from to make that kind of money? You'll end up in prison or worse." "I didn't want to," she whispered, "but I was scared of losing my dad." Larry reached into his pocket, brought out a slim silver card, and handed it to her. "You're lucky," he said with a soft smile. "Take this card. I think there's about 12 million naira in that account. Use it for your father's surgery. Use the rest to take care of yourself." Riley froze, staring at the card. Her hands trembled. "Well, what? Are you serious?" "Yes," Larry said, "very serious." Riley jumped on him and hugged him tightly. "Thank you. Thank you so much, sir." "Call me Larry," he said, laughing softly. "And promise me something. Anything. Don't ever steal again, Riley, ever." "I promise," she said quickly. "Never again, I swear on my mother's grave." Larry nodded. "Good." He stood up and stretched. "Now, I'll go with you to the hospital to see your father. Let's get him the help he needs." Just then, his phone rang loudly. He picked it up. It was his father. "Larry, where are you?" His father's voice was sharp. "Come to the office immediately. It's urgent." Larry frowned. "All right, I'm coming." He ended the call and turned to Riley. "Something's going on at work. I need to go now, but don't worry. After you get dressed, go ahead to the hospital. I'll come there as soon as I can." "Okay," Riley said. "The hospital is Holy Mercy Clinic, behind the old stadium. My dad's name is Mr. Joshua." Larry nodded. "Got it. I'll meet you there." As he left the room in a hurry, Riley sat back down, holding the bank card tightly to her chest, tears of joy streaming down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she felt hope. Just then, the door flew open with a loud bang. It was Melissa. Her high heels clicked hard on the tiled floor as she walked in, her face twisted with anger, her eyes sharp like a knife. She looked at Riley from head to toe and scoffed. "Who the hell is this?" she barked. Riley, who was still holding the bank card close to her chest, quickly stood up and greeted politely. "Good afternoon, Ma." Melissa stepped forward, folding her arms. "I didn't ask for greetings. I said, who are you?" Riley's heart pounded. She looked around nervously, then decided to lie to protect herself. "Larry, I mean Uncle Larry. He saw me being attacked by some street boys last night. He helped me and brought me here so I could rest." Melissa laughed coldly and turned in a slow circle. "So now my man is rescuing stray dogs from the street." Riley's face fell. Melissa walked closer and looked her straight in the eye. "Let me tell you something. I know my man. Larry can never look at a dirty local poor girl like you. Just look at you. Do you even own a mirror?" Riley stood there, frozen, her eyes wet with shame. Her lips trembled, but she didn't speak. Melissa's eyes moved to the card Riley was still holding tightly. "And what's that in your hand?" she asked sharply. Riley looked down at the card and quickly wiped her tears. "My father is sick. Uncle Larry gave me this card. He said I should use the money in it to pay for my father's surgery and hospital bills." Melissa stared at her for a moment, then suddenly burst into loud, mocking laughter. "You must be mad. You think Larry, the same man who doesn't even like to pay for dinner, just gave you money. You think he's Father Christmas." She snatched the card from Riley's hand before she could stop her. "Hey, that's for my father's." "Shut up," Melissa snapped. "Let me help you see clearly." She looked at the card, then waved it in Riley's face. "There's no money in here, my dear. He just used you. That's what Larry does. He sweet-talks girls like you, uses them, and throws them out like trash." Riley gasped. Her whole world began to spin. "No," she whispered. He wouldn't." Melissa smiled. "Wake up. You think a billionaire like Larry would help a nobody like you out of pity. He probably had fun last night and decided to give you a fake card to make you leave." Tears poured down Riley's face. "Give me back the card," she said in a shaking voice. "There's nothing in it," Melissa shouted, throwing the card on the floor. "Go and look for another fool to deceive. Leave my man and my house." That was the final straw for Riley. Her tears turned into anger. "You know what? You are wicked. You don't know what I've been through. You don't even care. I may be poor, but I have a heart. I don't need to be rich to have value." She wiped her face with the back of her hand. "Larry is not your property. And for your information, he's the one who said I should call him Larry, not Uncle. You are the one who should be worried." With that, Riley stormed out of the room, out of the mansion, and into the street. She walked fast, holding back her tears. She didn't know what to believe anymore. Was Melissa right? Was the card empty? Had Larry lied to her? After Riley stormed out of the room in tears, Melissa slowly walked over to the card she had flung on the floor. She picked it up, wiped it gently on her expensive gown, and laughed softly to herself. "Oh, what a poor, foolish girl," she muttered. "She actually believed my lies. So stupid." She sat on the bed, crossing her legs, still staring at the card. "Larry, you refused to give me money for a new car," she said aloud, flipping the card between her fingers. "You told me to manage the old one. You said I was spending too much. Well, guess what? I'm going to manage myself into that car showroom today." She stood up, walked over to the mirror, and fixed her makeup with pride. "I will just add this to what I've already saved and complete the money. Let me reward myself for dating a billionaire who doesn't know how to spoil his woman." Still smiling, she grabbed her handbag and left the house in a rush, not even locking the door properly. Meanwhile, at Holy Mercy Clinic, Riley stood quietly at the entrance of her father's hospital room. Her heart was heavy. Her head was spinning with thoughts. "Papa," she said softly, stepping closer to his bed. Mr. Joshua turned his weak head and managed a tired smile. "Riley, where have you been?" "I didn't sleep last night. I was worried." "I'm sorry, Papa," Riley whispered, sitting on the edge of his bed and holding his hand. "I was at a friend's place. I slept off." Mr. Joshua squeezed her fingers weakly. "It's all right, my child. I'm just glad you're safe." Just then, the door creaked open and the doctor walked in with a file in his hand. His face was serious. "Riley, we need to talk," he said quietly. She stood up quickly. "Yes, doctor?" The doctor sighed. "Your father has been here for 1 full month. We've tried to be patient. We've given him medications, drips, and constant care. But the bills are growing and the surgery he needs is still pending." Riley swallowed hard, her heart racing. "I'm sorry, Riley," the doctor continued. "This hospital is not a charity. If we don't receive any payment by tomorrow morning, we will have no choice but to discharge your father. We've stretched the rules for too long." "No, please," Riley said, her voice breaking. "Just give me more time, I beg you." The doctor looked at her with tired eyes. "We've already waited too long. I'm really sorry." He turned and walked out, leaving the room in silence. Mr. Joshua turned his face to the wall. A tear slid down his cheek. "Don't cry, Papa," Riley said, kneeling beside the bed. "I'll find a way. I promise." He shook his head slowly. "Riley, you've done enough. I don't want you to get into trouble for me." "I'm not giving up," she said firmly. "Even if I have to beg from street to street, I will do it. But I won't let them send you out, not like this." As her father closed his eyes in pain, Riley's heart burned with anger and helplessness. She had trusted Larry, she had believed in his kindness, but now she had no card, no money, only pain. Riley stepped out of the hospital, her legs weak, but her heart burning with pain and confusion. The hot afternoon sun hit her face as she walked slowly down the dusty road, not even knowing where she was going. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand, talking to herself in a low voice. "I can't just sit and watch Papa die. I need to do something." Then the thought came. "Larry." "Yes," she said aloud, "let me go to Larry's house. I must ask him if that card was fake or not." But as she took a few more steps, another thought stopped her. "What if that witch of a girlfriend is still there?" she asked herself, her face twisting with anger. "She will insult me again, maybe even call the guards to throw me out." She stopped walking and stood under the shade of a mango tree. "No," she said firmly, "I'm not going back to that house. I don't want to see that wicked woman again." She stood there for a moment, thinking hard. "Let me go to his office instead," she said suddenly. "Yes, maybe I can talk to him there, away from that Melissa." But just as she took another step, she stopped again. "I don't even know where he works," she whispered. Her shoulders dropped. Her hope was slowly dying. She looked around at the busy road, filled with people, cars and noise. She was lost in the crowd, invisible to the world. She took a deep breath and walked to the roadside. "I have no choice," she said. "Let me try to beg." She stretched out her hand to the first person passing. "Please, sir, I need help. My father is in the hospital." The man didn't stop. She tried again with another person. "Madam, please, just a little help for my father." The woman turned her face away and walked faster. One by one, people passed her like she didn't exist. Some frowned, some hissed, a few even insulted her. "Lazy girl, go and work," one man shouted. "Why are you begging under the hot sun? Go and hustle," another said. Riley's legs began to shake, her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten anything since yesterday. Her heart was tired, her body weak, and her mind full of fear. She leaned on a wall and slid to the ground, burying her face in her hands. Meanwhile, at Larry's company inside his large, shiny office, Larry was seated behind his big desk, signing a document. His phone vibrated on the table. He looked at the screen. It was an alert. A payment of 12 million naira had been made using the card he gave Riley. He smiled immediately. "Thank God," he whispered. "She just made the payment. That means her father can finally have the surgery." He leaned back in his chair, still smiling. "I pray the old man survives it. I'll go and visit them tomorrow afternoon, after my board meeting." Just then, his father, Mr. Williams, who was sitting on the visitor's chair, noticed the smile on his son's face. "What's going on, Larry?" he asked, raising one eyebrow. "You're smiling like someone just got engaged." Larry chuckled. "It's nothing, Dad. You love gossip too much. Just mind your business." Mr. Williams laughed. "Ah, me. Gossip? Never. I only asked one small question." They both laughed together, but deep inside, Larry felt peace in his heart. For once, he was happy that his money had helped someone who truly needed it. He had no idea that the money didn't reach Riley and that she was still out there on the street, broken, begging, and thinking he had betrayed her. The next morning came with dark clouds hanging in the sky, as if heaven itself was mourning with Riley. She sat beside her father's hospital bed, holding his hand tightly. Her eyes were swollen from crying all night. She had no money, no hope, no answer. Just silence and fear. The door opened slowly. It was the doctor. His face was tired, his steps slow. He paused at the entrance, then walked in, clearing his throat gently. "Riley," he said softly. She looked up quickly. "Doctor, please, just give me one more day. I'll find the money, I promise, please." The doctor shook his head, his voice calm but firm. "I'm so sorry, Riley, I really am. But your father has to leave the hospital today. We can't keep him here anymore." Riley's heart sank. "No, please, don't do this." He sighed. "It's not my fault. I'm not the owner of the hospital. I've tried my best to help you people. I've even used my personal money to buy him medicine last week. But there's nothing else I can do." She got on her knees, holding his hand. "Doctor, I beg you, please. Just give me more time." The doctor slowly pulled his hand away, his face full of pity. "I can't, but I can help you with transport." He reached into his pocket and gave her a few crumpled Naira notes. "Use this to take a taxi home. That's the only help I can give you now." And with that, he walked out. Riley broke down again, covering her face with both hands. A few minutes later, she and her father were helped into a small old taxi parked in front of the hospital. The driver looked tired and uninterested. The engine coughed as it started. Inside the taxi, silence filled the air. Her father lay back weakly, his hand in hers. Tears rolled down his wrinkled cheeks as he turned to look at her. "Take me home, my daughter," he whispered. "Let me go and die in peace." "No, Papa," Riley said, already sobbing. "Don't say that." "You have suffered enough because of me," he said, his voice shaking. "I have stressed you so much. My sweet daughter, my angel. May the Lord bless you. May he give you a good husband, a kind man who will wipe away your tears." Riley shook her head violently. "Stop talking like that. You're not going anywhere, Papa." Her father coughed weakly. "What hope do we have now? They threw me out of the hospital like a dog." "I will find the money," Riley said, her voice rising with emotion. "I don't care how. Even if I have to rob a bank, I will do it. You must live, Papa. You must." Her father turned to her quickly, as much as his strength would allow. "No, Riley, don't ever say that again. Don't do anything foolish. Don't let my suffering lead you to prison or death. Please, my child." She wiped her eyes and nodded, though her heart was broken. The taxi moved through the bumpy streets, heading towards their small house. Riley stared out the window, her eyes empty, her mind racing. That afternoon, as the sun climbed high and the heat pressed down on the city, Larry arrived at Holy Mercy Clinic in his black SUV. He stepped out wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, without any of his usual bodyguards. His face looked calm, but inside he was excited. He walked straight into the hospital reception, ignoring the stares from nurses and patients who recognized him. "Good afternoon," he said politely to the nurse behind the desk. "Please, I'm looking for a patient. His name is Mr. Joshua. He was admitted here, and his daughter's name is Riley." The nurse blinked, surprised to see such a handsome billionaire asking about a sick old man. "Hold on, sir. Let me call the doctor." A few minutes later, the doctor came out. "Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Felix. How may I help you?" Larry stretched out his hand and gave a small smile. "Good afternoon, doctor. My name is Larry. Larry Martins." Dr. Felix's eyes widened a little as he shook Larry's hand. "Ah, Mr. Martins. The business tycoon?" Larry chuckled softly. "Please, just call me Larry." "Yes, I'm the one. I came as a family friend. Riley, Mr. Joshua's daughter, spoke to me recently. She told me her father was very sick. I came to check on them." Dr. Felix's face dropped. "Oh, I see." Larry noticed the change in his expression. His heart began to beat faster. "Doctor, where are they?" Dr. Felix sighed and took off his glasses. "I'm sorry, Mr. Martins. They've been discharged." Larry was shocked. "Discharged? Why? What happened?" "There was no payment," the doctor said softly. "We waited for weeks, gave them more time than usual, but no money came. The hospital is under pressure. This morning I had no choice but to discharge." Mr. Joshua Larry stepped back slowly, feeling like someone had just punched him in the chest. "No payment?" he asked again, confused. "Are you sure?" "Yes, sir," the doctor said. "No one brought money. We didn't receive anything, and we don't know where they went." Riley didn't leave any address. She told me once that they lived near the Central Market, but she never gave more details. She also doesn't have a phone. Larry was quiet. He stared at the floor for a long moment, trying to understand what went wrong. He had given Riley everything she needed. Why didn't she pay? Why didn't she return? She has no phone? He asked softly. Dr. Felix shook his head. No, sir, she lost it and couldn't replace it. Larry sighed deeply and looked out the hospital window. I don't understand. Riley is a good girl. I know she didn't lie. Something is wrong. He reached into his pocket, took out a pen and one of his business cards, and wrote his private number on the back. He handed it to Dr. Felix. Please, doctor, if you ever see her or her father again, call me. I don't care what time it is, just call. Or if Riley comes, give her this number. Tell her Larry is looking for her. It's very important. Dr. Felix nodded, taking the card. I will, sir. I'll do my best. Thank you, Larry said, his voice low. He turned and slowly walked out of the hospital. His heart was heavy. Something had gone terribly wrong. He could feel it. As he climbed into his car and drove off, he kept asking himself the same question. Where are you, Riley? What happened to you? Larry got home just as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow across the driveway. He stepped out of his car, still thinking about Riley and her sick father. His mind was full, his heart heavy. But just as he walked toward the front door, he saw a shiny red car parked outside his gate. He frowned. Who owns this car? He wondered. He stepped into the house, and to his surprise, there she was, Melissa, sitting comfortably on the couch like she owned the place. Larry stopped in his tracks and narrowed his eyes. What are you doing here? He asked coldly. Melissa smiled and crossed her legs. Did you forget I have a spare key? Larry clenched his jaw. That key was for emergencies, Melissa, not for breaking into my house whenever you feel like it. Melissa stood up slowly. Oh, please, don't act like a stranger. This is my husband-to-be's house, remember? Larry raised his voice a little. Never. I can't marry someone like you. Melissa rolled her eyes. Whatever, I didn't come to argue. I came to show you my new car. Didn't you see it outside? That hot red ride? She asked proudly, smiling like she just won a trophy. Larry scoffed. I thought you rented it. You love fake life, Melissa. She gasped dramatically. Fake life? Excuse me, darling, that car is mine. I've been saving for it for months. Since you refused to change my old one, I did it myself. Larry stared at her. Change what? The car I bought brand new for you barely 2 years ago. You think I'm a fool? Melissa waved her hand. Oh, please, that car is old news. You have money, Larry, but you don't like to spend. You're too stingy. What kind of man has billions but acts like he's broke? Larry shook his head slowly. You're too materialistic, Melissa. That's your problem. Always chasing things that shine, but never thinking about people who matter. Melissa walked closer, her voice rising. So because I want nice things, I'm now a bad person. What's the point of dating a billionaire if he doesn't spoil you? Larry raised his hand, stopping her. Melissa, I don't have strength for your nonsense today. Just leave. Melissa frowned. I'm not going anywhere. You are, Larry said firmly. This is no longer your home. You crossed the line. Melissa laughed bitterly. Wow, so now you're throwing me out? Picked up her handbag and walked toward the door. Don't worry, I'll leave. But trust me, Larry, you'll miss me one day. As she slammed the door behind her, Larry sat on the couch, rubbing his forehead. 2 days later, just when Riley thought things couldn't get any worse, the loud knock came at their door. Open this door, the angry voice shouted. Riley rushed out from the back, her heart already beating fast. She knew that voice too well. She opened the weak wooden door, and there stood their landlord, Mr. Ogunlade, his face full of anger, one hand holding his belt, the other pointing at the house. You people must leave this house today, he barked. Sir, please, Riley begged, her hands shaking. My father is very sick. We just got back from the hospital. Please give me more time. Riley, don't beg me again, the landlord shouted. You have been owing me 6 months' rent. 6 months. Do you know how many families I feed with the money from this house? You think I'm running a charity? Please, sir, I'll pay soon. I've been trying. Just give me a little more time, I beg you, she cried. He shook his head firmly. I have tried enough. I've been patient. But no more. I don't want to come back in the afternoon and see you here. I don't want trouble. With that, he turned around and walked away, mumbling angrily. Riley stood there in shock, her eyes burning with tears. She went inside and saw her father lying weakly on the mat, breathing slowly, his eyes half open. Papa, she whispered, we have to go. Go where, my daughter? He asked weakly. Riley didn't answer. She wiped her tears quickly, stepped outside and returned with something the neighbors had left in the backyard. A rusty old wheelbarrow. Papa, please forgive me. I don't know what else to do. She gently lifted her father into the wheelbarrow. He groaned from pain, but didn't complain. She placed a pillow under his head and covered him with a wrapper. Then, with shaky hands, she started to roll him down the street. The sun was hot. People stared, some whispered, some laughed. But Riley didn't care. She kept pushing. Tears streamed down her face as her feet hit the hot, dusty ground. Her back ached, and sweat soaked her clothes. Finally, after walking for over an hour, she saw an uncompleted building near the edge of town. The roof was missing. One wall had fallen. But it was empty and quiet. She pushed the wheelbarrow inside and looked around. Papa, she said, her voice cracking, let's stay here for now, just for a while, until I can find money. Then we'll get a nice place. I promise. Her father looked at her, his eyes full of pain. I'm sorry, my child, he whispered. I have failed you. No, Papa, don't say that, Riley said quickly, wiping his face with her scarf. She ran out with the little money she had left, just enough for a small plate of rice and sachet water. She came back and tried to feed him. Papa, please eat something, just a little. You need your strength. But he turned his face away. No, my daughter, leave me. Let me go. My ancestors are calling me. My time is near. Riley knelt beside him and held his hand tightly. Never. You are not going anywhere. You will live, Papa. You will see better days. I will fight for you. He closed his eyes, weakly pressing her hand. You are a good daughter. May the heavens reward you. Riley stood up quickly, panic in her voice. Wait, Papa. Let me go to the pharmacy. I'll get you medicine. Please stay right here. Don't move. She ran out of the uncompleted building with tears in her eyes. Minutes after she left, her father collapsed. His weak body gave up. His breathing slowed and his eyes rolled back. There was no one there to help him. Just the broken walls of the uncompleted building, silence, and the scorching heat of the afternoon sun. At that exact moment, Larry's black SUV pulled up in front of the same building. He had bought it just a week ago, planning to build a new branch of his tech company there. Today, he came for inspection, just to take a final look at the land before construction would begin. Larry stepped out of the car with his bodyguard behind him. He adjusted his sunglasses and walked toward the building. But as soon as he stepped inside, he froze. There, lying on the ground, was a man. Motionless, lifeless, pale. Hey, Larry shouted, what's going on there? The bodyguard rushed forward, bent down and checked the man's pulse. Sir, he's still breathing, but very faint. We need to act fast. Larry didn't waste a second. Call the ambulance now. Let's move him out immediately. Within minutes, the old man was inside the ambulance, sirens screaming through the streets. Larry followed closely behind in his car, his heart pounding. At the private hospital, doctors rushed the man into the emergency room. Nurses moved quickly, machines beeped, and the air was tense. The doctor came out after checking him. Sir, he said to Larry, this man is in critical condition. His organs are shutting down. If we don't operate immediately, he might not survive the night. Larry stood up, eyes wide, fists clenched. Go on, doctor. Do the surgery. Money is not the problem. Yes, sir, the doctor replied and hurried back in. Meanwhile, Riley was rushing back to the uncompleted building. She had begged a kind woman in the market who, after hearing her story, gave her just enough money to buy a little medication and some bread for her father. Her heart was full of hope as she ran with the plastic bag in her hand. She entered the building, her voice cheerful but tired. Papa, I'm back. I got the medicine. Papa? But the building was silent. No answer. She dropped the bag and ran from corner to corner. Papa, Papa, where are you? Still nothing. Riley's heart dropped. She looked around again, breathing hard. Her voice trembled. "Oh God, the enemies have succeeded. They've taken him. They've finally taken him." Her knees hit the floor as tears poured down her face. What if kidnappers came? What if ritualists saw him and thought he was useless and carried him? She was shaking, afraid, lost. She ran out of the building, confused, scared, and desperate. Then one place came to her mind. Larry's house. She arrived at his house and knocked at the gate. The security man who had seen her before allowed her in without question. But as she stepped into the compound, her heart sank. Melissa was standing at the doorway, holding a glass of juice, with a wicked smile on her face. "Well, well, well," Melissa said, walking down the steps slowly. "Look who's here again, the poor beggar girl." Riley, with tears in her eyes, folded her hands. "Please, I beg you, I don't know where my father is. I came back and didn't find him. I just need a place to stay, just one night, please." Melissa laughed harshly. "You dirty, spoilt poor girl. Who invited you here? You better stay away from my man, you desperate fool." Riley sniffed, her hands shaking. "Please, I'm not here for trouble. I just need to sleep here tonight. I have nowhere to go." "I said never. You will never be welcome here. Not today, not ever. Go back to the gutter you came from," Melissa barked. Riley wiped her face. "I'm not trying to take anyone from you. I'm only trying to survive." "Get out," Melissa screamed, "before I call the police." Riley turned slowly, her eyes full of pain, her heart heavier than ever. She walked out of the compound, back to the streets, dragging her feet, crying as she moved. Riley sat by the roadside crying, her chest rising and falling, her whole body shaking. It felt like the whole world had turned its back on her. People walked past her without stopping. Some looked at her, others ignored her, but no one asked if she was okay. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand, staring at the sky. "Oh Lord, what kind of life is this?" she cried. "Please, wherever my father is, let him be safe. I can't take any more pain." Then, from nowhere, a gentle voice spoke behind her. "My daughter." "What's wrong?" She turned around slowly. An old man stood before her. He wore a simple white native cloth, had a long grey beard, and kind eyes that looked like they had seen many years. There was something peaceful about him. "Why are you crying like this in the middle of the road?" he asked gently. Riley stood up slowly, tears still in her eyes. "Papa," she began, her voice shaking, "I went to buy medicine for my father. He's very sick. I left him in an uncompleted building because we were sent out of our house. But when I came back, he was gone. I've searched everywhere. I don't know where he is. I'm scared." The old man nodded slowly, listening without interrupting. "I would have gone to the police," Riley continued, "but I can't. I've had a bad experience with them before. It turned out badly. And even if I go there, they won't help me unless I bring money. And I have nothing." The old man sighed deeply. "My daughter, now I understand," he said. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "My daughter, dry your tears. Your father is not dead." Riley's eyes widened. "What? Are you sure, Papa? Is he still alive?" "Yes," the old man said calmly. "Go to that doctor, the one who helped you before. Go now, you will find answers." Riley stood up quickly, hope returning to her heart. "Thank you, Papa. Thank you." She turned to leave, then paused and looked back to thank him again. But he was gone. Vanished. She looked around in shock. There was no sign of him, no footsteps, nothing. "Was that an angel?" she whispered. She didn't wait. With tears in her eyes and fire in her heart, she ran. As fast as her legs could carry her, Riley ran into the hospital, her heart beating faster than her legs. Her whole body was tired, but she didn't stop until she reached the front desk. A nurse stood up as soon as she saw her. "I want to see Dr. Felix," Riley said, breathing heavily. "Please, it's urgent." Moments later, Dr. Felix appeared from the corridor. When he saw her, he rushed forward. "Riley, my daughter, are you okay?" Riley's voice shook. "Doctor, please. Was my father brought here? Please, have you seen him?" Dr. Felix looked at her sadly and shook his head. "I'm sorry, Riley. I haven't seen him since the day you both left the hospital." Riley's face turned white. Her body shook. Her lips trembled. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Then suddenly, she collapsed. Nurses rushed to her side and carried her into one of the private rooms. They placed her on a bed and connected her to a drip. Some hours later, Riley slowly opened her eyes. She blinked a few times, confused. Where am I?" she whispered. Dr. Felix came in and smiled gently. "You're safe now, Riley. You fainted, but you're going to be okay." She sat up slowly. "What happened to me, doctor?" Dr. Felix cleared his throat. "Riley, you're 2 weeks pregnant." Riley's eyes widened in shock. "What?" "Yes," the doctor said, "and it was due to too much stress that you collapsed. You're lucky, my dear. You could have lost the pregnancy." Tears slowly filled Riley's eyes. She placed her hand on her stomach and said in a low voice, "What use is a pregnancy when I can't even feed myself? When I don't know where my father is?" "Don't say that," Dr. Felix said gently. "Children are gifts from God. You don't know what that child might become tomorrow. Be strong, my daughter. Everything will be fine." He patted her hand softly. "Let me go and tell the nurse to bring you something to eat. You need your strength." He walked out, and a few minutes later the door opened again. This time it wasn't the doctor. It was Larry. Riley's eyes widened in shock. "Larry," she whispered, her voice full of surprise. How did you know I was here?" Larry stepped forward with concern written all over his face. "Dr. Felix called me. He kept the number I gave him the other day when I came looking for you." Riley looked down, biting her lip. She wasn't sure how to feel, but suddenly Larry's expression changed. His voice was serious. "Riley," he said, "why didn't you pay for your father's hospital bills? What did you do with the card? Don't tell me you gave it to your boyfriend or something." Riley's face turned red. She sat up straight. "What did you just say?" she snapped. "So that's what you think of me? That I used the money for a boyfriend?" Larry frowned. "Then what happened?" "Why didn't you pay?" Riley shouted. "Because you gave me a fake card." Larry stepped back in shock. "What? Are you serious right now?" Riley was angry. "Yes. What do you take me for? One of your foolish girlfriends like Melissa?" That name made Larry freeze. He stared at Riley. "Wait, how do you know Melissa?" Riley looked away. "She came to your house after you left that day. She insulted me and took the card from me. She told me there was no money in it." Larry's mouth fell open. His jaw tightened. "She what? She took the card from you?" "Yes," Riley shouted. "That's why I couldn't pay. That's why I lost everything. I thought you tricked me." Larry stood still for a moment, boiling with anger. "So this is where Melissa got the money she used to buy that new car," he said slowly. "How can she be so selfish? So foolish?" Riley wiped her face, tired and frustrated. "But that's not my concern anymore. All I want now is to find my father. I left him in an uncompleted building, and when I returned, he was gone." Larry's eyes widened. "Wait a minute," he said. "We actually saved a man we saw in an uncompleted building." He quickly described Mr. Joshua. His clothes, his condition, his hands flew to her mouth. "That's my father. That's him. Oh God, is he alive? Where is he?" Larry held her hand gently. "Calm down. Yes, he's alive. We took him to the hospital. He had surgery. The doctors say he's doing much better and will go home in a few days." Riley burst into tears, this time tears of joy. "Thank you, God, thank you." She tried to get up. "Please take me to him. I want to see him now." Larry gently stopped her. "No, Riley, the doctor told me you're not strong enough yet. He said you are pregnant. You need to rest." Riley looked away, her voice trembling. "I want to get rid of it." Larry turned sharply. "No, don't say that." "Why not?" she asked. "What kind of life will this child live?" "I'm tired, Larry. I have nothing. Not even a home." Larry looked into her eyes. "Because that child might be mine." Riley's expression changed. "Might? What do you mean by might?" "Larry, you're the only man I've ever been with in my life. Of course the child is yours." Larry's heart sank, his voice softened. "Then keep it." Riley stared at him. "What about Melissa?" "I don't want drama. I don't want to fight." "Leave that to me," Larry said firmly. "I have no business with Melissa anymore. After what she did to you, to your father, we're done. You are the only one I care about now." Riley's lips trembled. "Do you really mean that?" "I do," Larry whispered. "You're not alone anymore." He stood up. "Now rest. Let me go and get you some clothes and something to eat." I'll be right back." As he left the room, Riley placed her hand gently on her belly. For the first time in her life, she felt like someone truly cared. Later that evening, Larry drove home, his mind full of thoughts. He had just left the hospital after checking on Riley. Her father was recovering well, and Riley was finally resting peacefully. But Larry's heart was burning, not with pain, but with anger. He had to confront the person who caused all this mess. As he entered his mansion, he found Melissa sitting in the living room. She looked up and smiled at him. "Hey, baby," she said sweetly, like the perfect girlfriend. Larry didn't smile back. "Melissa," he said calmly, "I need to talk to you." She rolled her eyes. "Talk, I'm listening." He stood in front of her and looked her straight in the eyes. "I went to the hospital today. I saw Riley." Melissa paused but said nothing. "She told me everything," Larry continued. "How you took the card I gave her. How you lied to her and said there was no money in it." Melissa smiled. "And so?" "Yes, I took the card. Yes, I used it." "And what?" "I used the money to buy a car. Is that why your eyes are red like this?" Larry took a deep breath, holding his anger. "No problem," he said. "Enjoy the car. Let it be your final settlement. As for this relationship, it's over." Melissa stood up quickly. "What did you just say?" "I said I'm done," Larry repeated. "In fact, I've been done a long time ago. You are selfish, heartless, full of pride. No respect, no kindness. You're just a lazy, mannerless girl." Melissa's eyes widened. "You're breaking up with me?" "Me, Melissa? Do you know how many men are dying to be with me?" Larry laughed bitterly. "Let them have you." "You will never find another beautiful woman like me," she screamed. Larry smiled and opened the door. "Then I guess I'll live happily without beauty and with peace." Melissa grabbed her bag angrily and stormed out, slamming the door so hard that it echoed through the house. Larry sighed deeply and sat down. For the first time in years, he felt free. Truly free. Weeks later, Mr. Joshua was finally discharged from the hospital. His strength had returned, and the surgery was successful. Larry arrived that morning with a big smile and helped him into the car. But he didn't take them back to the old broken house. Instead, he drove them to a beautiful bungalow in a quiet and peaceful area. As Riley helped her father out of the car, she looked around in confusion. "Where are we?" she asked. Larry smiled. "Welcome to your new home." Riley froze. "What? What do you mean?" "I bought this house for you and your father," Larry said. "You both deserve peace. You've suffered enough." Riley dropped to her knees, tears pouring down her face. "Thank you, Larry, thank you." Mr. Joshua was speechless. He could only raise his hands to heaven in prayer. A few days later, Larry took Riley to meet his father. Mr. Martins welcomed her warmly. He was proud of his son's decision and praised Riley for her strength and good heart. And then something special happened. 1 month later, Larry knelt down on one knee and proposed to Riley. He brought out a simple but beautiful ring. "Riley," he said, "you are strong, beautiful, kind and brave. You've shown me what true love means. Will you marry me?" Riley burst into tears. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." Cheers filled the room as Larry slid the ring onto her finger. 1 month later, they had a beautiful wedding. It was small but filled with joy, music, food and dancing. Riley looked like a queen in her white dress, and Larry couldn't stop smiling. Even Mr. Joshua danced joyfully at the reception, thanking God for his goodness. Months passed, and then the happiest day came. Riley gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Tears of joy filled Larry's eyes as he held his son for the first time. "Thank you, God," he whispered. "Thank you for giving me this family." They named the baby Emmanuel, meaning God is with us. From that day forward, life was never the same again. Riley, who once slept in the streets, now had a home full of love. Larry, who once chased fake love, finally found peace with a woman who truly cared. Together, they raised their son with joy and unity. And they lived happily ever after. While Melissa, on the other hand, faced a different fate. After losing Larry, she got involved with a man who pretended to be rich. He dressed well, talked big, and claimed to own properties. But by the time Melissa was 6 months pregnant, the truth hit her hard. The man was broke and jobless. She was left alone, ashamed, and full of regret. Everything she once laughed at Riley for had now become her own story. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.